Hello everyone. Welcome to our Master of Fine Arts Thesis exhibition celebration for UCDavis Department of Art and Art History. As we all have experienced together, this year has been an extraordinary year. So many of us had to change our lives, the way we work, the way we relate to our friends and family, and even the way we eat. And these changes were very, very difficult. And I am glad to see some signs of ending this difficult experience on the horizon. My name is Young Soo, and I am graduate advisor in the Department of Art and Art History at UCDavis. To me, the last year has been a humble reminder that we live in a difficult world, despite the newest technologies and tools available to us. And life will always present its challenge to us one way or another. But I believe those difficulties present an opportunity for many artists. They become a source of inspiration and motivation to create. And I am proud to say that these 8 students who presented their work today at the opening of their online thesis exhibition at the Mannerishram Museum took their chances and succeeded in creating something extraordinary. I am grateful for the university and department administration to support our mission and keep open the individual studios for all our graduate students. When everyone was teaching and working from home, our 16 students continue to come to their studios, which you will see in today's program. And I would say continue to meet with the difficulties of the world presented before them. The works you will see today of these 8 young extraordinary artists, Javila Ayas, Samarkara, Jesse Eisworth, Dino Capaldi, Geneva Daly, Mercy Hawkins, Gretchen Lemader, Danny Torvick, are not an ordinary works of MFA thesis work, but an individual voice of the extraordinary change in the world we experience together. When the pandemic started, we started wondering what the world will have become if we didn't simply go back to the normal. And I am still asking that question. And I look for the answers to this question in the works of these artists. They are the ones who focus their energy to give a voice of their own experience. And this time, we have some shared understanding of those experiences. I believe that the role of the artist in society is to give a real human voice to an inexplicable and overwhelming experience. I think each one of them achieved something so wonderful and extraordinary in creating these voices through their own unique processes. For the next hour or so, you will see these students share their processes and works from their studios, and also will be joined by 2 creative writing MFA students, Anna Tuchin and Jordan Dolans, who will read from their thesis work, and our first-year MFA students and the faculty to celebrate their achievements. I hope you enjoy the program, and please visit www.mannerishrammuseum.ucdavis.edu to view the Arts and Humanities Graduate Exhibition 2021.
My name is Javila Ayas. I'm an MFA candidate at UCDavis, and I'm a sculptor and kind of a multi-medium artist. I work with a lot of different materials and look at how they respond to the spaces I'm in. When I came to this program, my work got more and more sculptural, and I started to really focus on dimension and leave painting behind for the moment. So the program was really helpful for me in that the faculty conversations and relationships that I invested in were ones that really pushed me and challenged me to go into the unknown and to build on what I didn't know and also restructure what I thought I knew about art. I slowly started to gain confidence in making work and learning about what my work looked like and actually was, and making work that was dimensional, sculptural, and starting to get into installation, which is behind me now as my thesis work. The other thing about the pandemic that I guess I'll say, and its effect on the program, was just that I was so thankful to have the group of graduates, the 8 of us that are in my class, and the relationships that we've built with each other, that we got to have that first year together, and then going into the second year and working a lot from home or working a lot alone in studios, and then being on Zoom and interacting virtually, we really relied on these bonds that we made when we were in person. And at the end of the program now, we are really relying on each other and also growing and putting into perspective and kind of investing in our relationships with each other to carry this community with us out into the world as we make work after grad school. This imprinting that happens with the paper, I get the paper wet and I press it against objects and surfaces that are around me in the interior spaces I live in and work in. And that process is really connected to memory for me. And I'm also interested in this idea that your imagination works with your memory to support a whole picture. So that really interests me, and my thesis work has really built out of this idea of trying to make a sort of space that evokes something remembered from a time past or maybe a time future, of being in a place, of orienting yourself, looking around and feeling the feeling and emotion and impact and atmosphere of a place. So the color that I involved, these shades of blue, also is meant to sort of stage this idea of another dimension or another sort of parallel spot or marker in time that can be recalled. You can follow me on Instagram at Javila Awesome. That's my handle. It's my first and last name and OME on the end. I also have a website that's hjaos.com, so you can see what I'm up to. I just am so grateful for the faculty I've worked with at UCDavis, so I just want to thank all of them, and I want to thank the efforts of the program to grow and change with its grad students, and also to thank my amazing 7 other people in my cohort in my year, and also the first years that have been in my program, all the people that helped us along the way, introduced us to the program before they graduated, and also the new people coming in. I just wish everyone who's interested in the program and coming into the program an amazing 2 years here.
So I'm very interested in how people relate and respond to the landscape around them. So I find myself sort of drawn in by different issues of land use, environmental issues, development. And coming from New York City originally, that's a very built, man-made space. I've really, in general, been most drawn to places that are almost on the edge of built environment. You can kind of focus in on individual elements and dynamics a lot easier. There's sort of a distillation that comes from rural space a lot of the time, and you can look at these sort of epistemological, almost, sort of like fundamental aspects of land use in those environments. I've used gallery space as a framing device, as a lot of artists, and especially installation and sculpture artists use. And I think that context of place is important. And even in the work that I've done in gallery, there's always been a place specificity, even if there's not a site specificity to the actual work made. Every project I've done in the past few years has some tie back to a particular place where I've been doing field work or I've been focusing, and oftentimes I've even collected material for the project. I think it's important to have that as a nod to how I am working in response to place. and all my projects are in response to place in one way or another. Yeah, there's kind of two halves of the equation here in my process. There's the fieldwork half, which turns into the creation of a project. My fieldwork process involves following threads, either going back to places that I have briefly encountered and wanting to learn more. So then when I go to make the artwork, I'm starting with that response. Usually I'll be thinking about the elements of an environment and thinking about how they relate to each other and trying to identify key features, objects, or materials. And I think about how can I manipulate that? What can I do physically? And through the process of making it, working with the material, oftentimes other things come to light. And, even the bench kind of came to me because I was out shooting photography and there was a bench. And it reminded me of home, New York City, in a sense, in that, I saw a connection between those objects and I thought, okay, how can we get them to relate with these other materials that I'm starting to see repeated in the photos that I'm getting of these sites? And that's kind of where it comes from, and you just work from there. And then it's just kind of a matter for me of, just working through the material and intuitively trying to get to a visual language that makes sense in my head, that conveys sort of the more ineffable thoughts that I can't put into words in my head. How does it feel? What's the impression? And trying to convey that impression.
All right, so my name is Jesse Eisworth. I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin. I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the University of Minnesota before coming here to UCDavis, and I am here in the last quarter of my Master of Fine Arts degree. I'm primarily a painter. It has been definitely a struggle at times. I feel like through this process I've learned a lot about myself and really digging into what fascinates me as an artist. I almost wish I had one more year here just because I am just now getting really firm ideas of what I stand for and where I am as an artist. I mean, Davis was #1 on my list, which I had never even been here before. At the University of Minnesota, I had a painting professor, Matthew Ziefelt, who actually went here for his master's degree, and maybe following in his footsteps in some ways. I had looked at other programs, but my mind was just really set on UCDavis. Growing up in a small town in the Midwest I wanted nothing else but to leave and be somewhere else, and I finally feel like I'm getting to where I need to be. So my thesis actually took more shape as a book project called Prima Materia, and I was looking at alchemical histories and its relationship to technology. Yeah, it's all wrapped up in that book. The paintings are always sort of happening, but there's a lot of unseen components that are happening as well with the paintings. I work within this digital realm through editing softwares, generative adversarial networking software. I felt like the book was a good intermediary between people who are constantly viewing art through screens. I felt like the book is sort of an intermediary between a screen-like experience and having a personal physical experience with the work. There's nothing like experiencing a work of art in person, and I don't think a digital experience can really hold up, especially with my own work. William Burroughs, he has an amazing quote, "When you cut into the present, the future leaks out," which I resonate with a lot because actually almost all of my works are born of this digital collage process. I'm really inspired by alchemical histories and its relationship to technology. They're immediate, that you immediately can see the texture, the color, the shine, the glitz. Most of them are encoded with a language that I'm employing or deploying for the viewer that I want them to have that immediate response for people who may not have the sort of semiotic relationship to the drawing and sort of writing that is being deployed within them. The more time that's spent with them, they actually have this process of revealing themselves more and more to the viewer. I was never really taught techniques or anything like that. That was something that I had to seek out and learn on my own. I think my art education is an art historical education and an art theory education, which I actually do think, which maybe I'm just so influenced by this sort of institution, but I do think it is really imperative for artists that are working today to know the histories that they're trying to operate within. And I feel like just staying on the West Coast, finding a studio space and just continuing what I've been doing. I definitely want to say thank you to my partner Nathan, my cohort specifically. I have bonded with all of them in really amazing ways. Love my family. Yeah, most of my work can be found on my website, jesseelsworth.com. I have an Instagram and it's at jesse.ay.
Hi, my name is Dino Capaldi. I'm a ceramic sculptor from Los Angeles, California, specifically the South Bay, and this is my studio. My experience at UCDavis has been really wonderful. I'm first of all just really grateful for the opportunity. The facilities are amazing. There's a rich history in the West Coast, specifically California with ceramics. There's a very rich history here at the TV9 building. I think my favorite part about coming to Davis was I had an amazing cohort. I made such great friends. It was such a great community. Another thing I really loved about the program here was the space that you were given to just kind of be creative and make work. Coming from Los Angeles, Davis is a little bit of a slower pace. Davis also is located, pretty close to a lot of major things. Sacramento is close by, San Francisco, Oakland. Also, I'm a big surfer. Just having access to go to the beach and then go to the coastline here, Sonoma, Mendocino, Marin was really special also for me. So my work deals with landscape a lot. I'm creating sculpture objects that I feel maybe reflect or are inspired by things or objects or forms that I see in a particular landscape, particularly coastal landscapes. Being a big surfer and from Southern California, I feel like a lot of my work is inspired by those specific landscapes, and then also had the opportunity to come up to Northern California and experience this coastal landscape, which is dramatically different. For my thesis, I chose to kind of show 3 bodies of work that I kind of was working on here for the past 2 years. First body of work is what I'm referred to as pool works. Those are specifically inspired by a form that I discovered on a walk on the coastline when I was at home in Southern California. It was an old ruin from a military bunker, and so the pools were reflective of that. The form was kind of inspired by that thing. There's melted glass pooled in the middle. There's a collection of parts that I've cataloged in my studio and maybe past failures of works or things specifically created for those pieces that are then kind of broken and rearranged to create an interior landscape of sorts. The next body of work that I'm showing, I'm calling them outcrops. Those pieces are more related to the Northern California coastal landscape. It's a lot more rocky. The last body of work, I'm calling that piece Beachcomber. For me, it is kind of this act of walking and looking and searching, looking down, kind of finding interesting things that I'm seeing in the landscape. I also think that piece speaks to kind of this act of collecting or organizing. It's a bunch of kind of smaller works that I've rearranged and organized into a sort of installation that's low to the ground. So there's something interesting to me about kind of this arrangement of smaller works to create a larger whole. Yeah, after graduation, I'm looking forward to going back to Los Angeles, spending time with my family again, getting to work. I have a residency lined up with a gallery space in Los Angeles, Stanley's, and also have a show hopefully that will be happening sometime in 2022. So that's what I'm very excited about, these opportunities that I have coming up. And I would just like to thank everyone who was here on the program with me, all the faculty, all the staff that contributed to my experience here. Also, I really want to thank my family, my parents, and also my friends that have supported me this past 2 years, and also my girlfriend who took a lot of time out to come visit me while I was here in the program. So just want to thank all you guys for all you've done for me. Yeah, you can follow me at my Instagram. It's just at Dino Capaldi, my name. Also, I have a website, dinocapaldi.com.
Hi, my name is Jordan Dolan. I am a member of the 2021 UCDavis Creative Writing MFA cohort. I write poetry. The title of my thesis is Mouth for a Door. It's a collection of sonnets, and I'm going to read 2 of them. Before I do, I just wanted to say thank you to the Studio Art MFA students and faculty. I've so enjoyed the opportunities that I've had to interact and collaborate with all of you, and hopefully it doesn't stop here. All right, here's a couple sonnets. This first one is called Crystal Litany. To save my life from my memories, I decohered, then arranged it, not in order, a crystal litany, built how a plant lives in time's loving polymerization, heat, legible alongside closures, not detached, distillate, holding choral sequences first as a garment, then a gateway, neither exiting nor entering, I simply was already. So began then to turn, counting neither upwards nor down, outwards of harm into sound, praying loops with my fingers, failures, accidents mar, the end of a finger clipped off. Who is accountable for the body's constructions? Fingernails, hair, fat, musculature, veers. The living begins behind. Other ends, efforts to live. We trade clippings, minute time, living in heaps, strands, worse, beads of everything in piles. The second sonnet is called Beads on Same Strings. A toddler in a face mask will tell you a bit about their future. Our telly has always had a stillness in him. It mystifies, returning me. Detecting thin shells, lurking past the bonds of all goodly time and space, one gets the sense of being captured, not prisoner, but artifact, something to be and be held. Our days gather and bunch in times such as this, stringing so. I can remember great orange moths in Oregon, fettering wooden banisters, their autumn of dying and sex in Bend. I see them now, looking down the landscape of my father's back as he carries me to bed. I carry this of him also, I, a toddler, feigning sleep against the mask of his shoulder. You and me, reader, will have to bear memory together. These are mine, but you might find some of yours. Us or it being beads on same strings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie and Young, for inviting me to read some of my work today. I was really excited to share a little something which feels related to the work that we did in our collaboration class last fall. Here I'm working with some similar images as our group did there. We were very interested in the nymphs. And here too we have a nymph, though she's updated for the 21st century. She is a influencer named Tallulah, and the story is told from the perspective of a woman who falls in love with her. And this is that same woman recounting the moment that they met. So I'll read some excerpts from this story. God, I can't believe I was ever 18. It was that summer my friends dared me to submerge into the sludge of the Passaic River. By ignoring our parents' years of mandates to keep away, you'll crawl out of there with an extra limb. My buds and I exchanged their advice for lawn chemicals and other runoff. My friends summoned me from the parking lot to the oil-purpled waters, and my toes plunked in, and grease slunk up my leg hairs like ribbons, tying my ankles to the industrial vents on the bank. As I waded deeper into the water, our friends capsized under the weight of their laughter. They snapped photos on their camera phones where I grinned 1 pixel wide. At this point in the story, the nymph grabs our character from behind, trying to teasingly spook her, and then after this little prank, she congeals from the river water into the form of a woman, which quite shocks our narrator. I spun towards our friends, expecting to find my shock reciprocated, but they had been too far away to see that what appeared to them as wacky underwater distortions was simply magic. They wrapped you in a towel, while I stood for too long in the only thoughts I could crank out. What the hell? And damn, she's fine. Once we returned to the car, I leaned a river stink lean towards Nadia and whispered, "She curdled up from the Passaic?" You were riding shotgun, choosing between 2 Blink-182 CDs from the nylon binder. Too far and focused to overhear. Back then, I trusted all my straight friends, which is to say all my friends, knew what they were doing. They seemed fluent in a script obscure to me. When Nadia was still trying to set me up with guys, we would lay on the roof of her apartment building while she unpacked a single "you up" text like a dissertation. Her boy advice seemed studded along her tongue like pins on a music box cylinder. Those pins played a masterful tune, but I'm not sure who stamped them there in the mouth of that girl. Watching your knee bounce to the rhythm of the crunchy tunes from the stereo, I needed Nadia to hear me scream, "Line!" Nadia repeated my question to me. She curdled up? Then she whispered that she didn't understand gay slang, but she thought I should know you were single. Thank you.
My name's Geneva Daly. I'm a second-year grad student at UCDavis in the MFA in Studio Art program. It's been kind of incredible to just have a studio and the space to make work, and the pressure of grad school really creates a pressure cooker environment to make work. My undergraduate degree, which I graduated in 2009 with, was in ceramics, but fabric kind of made sense as something to transition into. So I've been working in soft sculpture mostly for the last 2 years, and it's been, great. COVID has impacted the last 2 years in our program in different ways. One is that my work is very tactile, and I think a lot about the tactility of fabric and the impulse to touch something, and unfortunately I don't get to have the viewer interact with the sculptures or be near them or have that impulse. So creating work that is about tactility and just taking out of in-person physical viewing of the work that's probably been the toughest thing. Yeah, the current body of work is using old coats and used fabrics, and throughout my 2 years working with fabric, I really previously was avoiding using fabrics that looked like they may have been worn or could be clothing, because it's very loaded when you have used clothing. So, but I finally just jumped in, and that kind of loaded feeling that the used clothing has been something that I've really enjoyed working with. So this current work deals with the body and the relationship of clothing and body, and how clothing changes us, but also letting the clothing kind of breathe and have its own life. The current body of work really has to do with my experience of my body, awkwardness, internal as external, and different themes along that line. If I find a coat that something about it I like, the texture, the pattern, bring it into my studio, and to begin with, I lay it down on my work table and I start making kind of arbitrary cuts. It's almost like a dissection process. And I also see parts of the coat that, I want to keep or honor, or I get excited by. And so I preserve those things. And once it's kind of been dissected, I start building it back up again and giving it its own kind of body and presence. So that's mostly the process right now with how I interact with the sculptures. I want to thank the faculty at UCDavis. They provided the pressure that I was looking for, the support, and I'd really like to thank my cohort mates. Without them, the last 2 years would have been a little unbearable. The last 2 years would have been really different without my cohort mates. The sense of community and support that they provided me was like foundational for getting through school. And then my family, my husband, and all my friends back home too. I'm a very lucky person to have the support system that I do backing me up. I'm on Instagram at Geneva Daly, and I have a website that's genevadaly.com.
Hi, my name is Mercy Hawkins, and I'm from Sacramento, and I am a graduating 2021, hopefully, MFA student, graduate. I work in painting and sculpture and try to combine the two. I'm super thankful for UCDavis and their support, and I don't know where I would be without them during this time. I've learned a lot. I've worked with some great faculty. All the faculty is amazing artists. I've got some great feedback. I love my cohort. Everybody's been so supportive and friendly. We've all gotten really close. I've spent a lot of time investigating and researching various different ethos surrounding the land. So from indigenous cultures to more contemporary cultures, trying to understand the relationship to the land and everything that goes into it, from a sort of harmonious stewardship of the land to a more colonial extraction, kind of seeing the world, the land, as a commodity to be used, and not seen as the sort of, the life bearer, the mother that, feeds us all. So here we have, this is about half my thesis. The other half is at home. But with this work, I was really trying to speak about that relationship between humans and the natural world, and invite people to, slow down and think about the land in a more, geological time frame. These are, the figures are kind of oscillating between, a biomorphic kind of figure and a more explicit figure. I wanted them to be about human scale, so that when people encountered them, they would have to look up, or it would be like a mirror encountering themselves. These are paintings that I did out in the natural spaces, and they're kind of enveloping the vibrations of the land. I really see everything very musically, and I try to convey that music in the colors and in the pulse and the beat that I try to create in the paintings that I do. And then I make them manifest into three-dimensional objects. I'm really interested in that relationship of how to push painting further, how to make it sculptural, to have that sort of, that presence that sculpture has, but still be a painting. If you'd like to learn more or follow me throughout my budding career, you can find me on Instagram at mercy.hawkins. My website is mercyhawkins.com. And you can also find me on Twitter. I'm Lemon Peels, and Facebook, Mercy Hawkins. I would love to thank my cohort and the faculty and my parents and my partner. Thank you for all the support. I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful.
I'm Gretchen Lemader, and I work primarily in still photography, but I also do some painting and explore multimedia quite a bit. Being at Davis has been a great kind of incubation for me to develop some things that I was working on prior to coming here. During this time, I've been able to shift my work a little bit to be more personal. I've been able to work with a number of different professors who've all given different perspectives on my work, and also bringing in other ideas for ways to build narrative in my work. As a photographer, I would say it's not really a photo program here. It's an interdisciplinary art studio program. So I would say for other photographers who might be coming here, it's a really great opportunity to think about ways to expand your practice. I have a lot of affection for my other cohort. And also the undergrad students. I've worked as a TA here. Unfortunately, in the last year, I've been on Zoom for most of my classes, but there was a quarter or two where I worked directly with undergrad students, and this has been an amazing opportunity for me to try out and sort of see about teaching as well. I came to Davis with an existing body of work that was sort of incomplete. Since coming to Davis, I've been able to create another body of work which took the work that I came in with, which was while my motivation for doing it was very personal, the work itself was kind of documentary and not resolved around my own identity within the work. I was able to work within the studio as well and to add a kind of performative element to some of the work that brought my own identity into it. I began to think of constructed ways of constructing photographs rather than just finding them, and ways to build narrative through that sort of action. Constructed in the sense of, while I was thinking of certain themes, I was finding not ways to illustrate, but ways to reference ideas. So that's how my work has kind of expanded during this time a little bit. Well, I really want to thank my cohort, but also the faculty that I've worked with. You know, when you show your own seriousness about your work and your practice and your own inspiration and enthusiasm for it, they come right there to meet you with that. I have a website that's not updated with the new work, and I also have an Instagram feed, and it's at Gretchen Lemader. At Gretchen Lemader. It's just one word.
My name is Danny Torvick, and I'm a painter. I felt so fortunate to be a grad student at UCDavis. We've really been given the freedom to work however we like, and I've grown a lot in so many ways. I've developed a studio practice over the past year that I hope will be sustainable. The financial support has been extremely generous, and I really appreciate all the people in my cohort. We have grown really close and have a great rapport. For my thesis project, I made 3 paintings on unstretched canvas, around 5 feet tall and 18 feet long. I have had the gift of a large studio space, and I really wanted to make the most of it. Plus, I was starting to feel stifled by working on the smaller canvases. The landscape shape and scale of the long rectangle gives the work a sense of time, of narrative and story, but I'm not really interested in controlling or mediating that experience for the viewer. The work is inspired by all of the things in my life that I internalize, like film and fiction and art history, and I've started to collage bits of ephemera from my studio into the work to bring my present moment into the pieces. I think about ideas about romance and gender and about how I learned about those things from fairy tales at a very young age. In my work, I filter through these memories, sift through these internalized notions, and I critique and question my memories of them. My future is really uncertain at this moment. I want to travel for a little while, I'll be looking for opportunities and grants and teaching positions, of course. I want to thank everyone who supported me through the last 2 years. My amazing partner, Ryan, my mom, Joan Staffen, my loving friends in cohort, and of course the faculty at UCDavis who have been so committed to my growth.
Hello, UCDavis MFA class of 2021. Congratulations. I'm so sorry you had to go through grad school during the pandemic, but hopefully you came out stronger like a fire-hardened spear. I'll see you this summer and beyond. Congratulations.
Hi, class of 2021. Wishing you the very best for a pandemic-free world and a launch pad into a career of amazing and creative projects ahead. Stay in touch and cheers.
Hi, everybody. I'm so proud of you all. You've done a wonderful job of creating new and exciting work in the 2 years that I've worked with you all. And I'll always remember working with you, doing studio visits, your very first quarter here. So good luck, stay in touch, and keep making work. Take care.
Congratulations on all your hard work in a difficult time. Best wishes.
I just want to say, you guys rock. I cannot believe that you are graduating after this tumultuous, challenging year with such fabulous research under your belts. You're going to go out into the world and you are going to crush it. And we will never forget you. Let's look forward to getting to know each other better in real life soon. Congratulations.
Congratulations, grads. All the best.
Congratulations. I am so very, 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 very proud of you.
Congratulations. Congratulations, beautiful.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations on getting through such a difficult time and making such amazing things. And I'm really proud of you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, second years. The thesis show looks incredible and you should all be very proud. Can't wait to see where you go and what you do next.
Hey! Congrats, guys! You graduated! You're an artist! You're an artist! Yay!
Hey there, just want to say congratulations and thanks for your friendship and also being an inspiration. Me and Iggy can't wait to see what you do next.
Good evening. I'm Annabeth Rosen, co-chair of the Department of Art and Art History. And in closing, I want to thank so many people. Young Sue, for your incredible stewardship of the MFA program. To all Art Studio faculty and staff, to our good colleagues in design, thank you. And the team at the Benetti Shrem Museum, Rachel Teagle, Jenna Marie Blair, Jennifer Wagley, who ushered the students through these two heretofore unknown thesis show episodes. To all fine colleagues, students, friends, and family who have come to salute you, good evening to all, and thank you. In the chaos and isolation of this last year, oddly enough, we have actually had more access to each other. We have lived through the pandemic, horrifying political upheaval, and a metamorphosis of consciousness in this country, all witnessed as artists who translate, describe, and decipher the contemporary ethos. With your graduation, you're being summoned out into the world to continue the work you started here at UCDavis. With diverse strategies and complex stories, you will broaden the lexicon of art. With intense ferocity, you will challenge the status quo. How you think influences what you do. With open and nimble minds, we will work together to enact important change. We are your cronies, your cohort, your comrades, and your confidants forevermore. We are deeply proud and profoundly inspired. Congratulations to each and every one of you.